Hey everybody, this is Ashley with Publish with Ashley, and I am excited to be here today to talk about Amazon advertising for low content books, and specifically kind of looking at Q4 and some tips specifically for Q4. But this actually will help you any time of the year. Amazon ads are a subject that no matter how many times you learn or from different people you learn tips from, you get something new every single time because there is so much information about advertising and Amazon advertising that you kind of hear new things every single time. And maybe you hear things you've heard before, but they start to make sense once you've kind of had some experience, and each part of your journey, you're going to learn and absorb something new. So I really wanted to, this is mostly focused at beginners, but honestly, even if you aren't a beginner, this is really going to help you because I kind of look at ads differently, I think, than most people. I tend to do what I tell you guys to do. My number one tip is always to understand your target market and your audience, because that is the way you're going to talk to them. All right, so let's get in. If this is your first time on my YouTube channel, please like and subscribe. And at the end, I have kind of a cool freebie. If you get to the end, you can see what the coupon code is. All right, so let's start. Okay, I am actually also going to talk a little bit about kind of that Q4 season. So we're in Q4 and you're thinking, where are my sales? Everyone said there'd be sales. Q4, unless this month, October, unless you're actually selling Halloween things, you're just not going to see a whole lot from the US market because they're really focused on Halloween and that sort of thing. Now, as soon as that's kind of over, it's going to be crazy. But that being said, that's the US market, which, like I said, it's November to December. You're going to see some crazy sales. But UK, they actually mid-October, so right about now, I am seeing my UK sales. So if you are doing ads, definitely do them for Q4 for UK. Now, I do want to say something interesting that you may or may not know. I've done advertising in the whole year round, and definitely the best time to do advertising, and you can just see my growth in my charts, is the Q4 season because there's just so many buyers out there at this point in time. All right, so you definitely want to advertise, but you want to take it slow. Follow these tips and hopefully they'll help. But one of the things that's interesting about the US market in October is that we have a lot of looky lures, and especially in the beginning of November too. So what that means is if you're running ads, you might notice a lot of clicks, but not a lot of sales or orders, okay? And that's because a lot of people, what they do is they'll click on it, they'll check it out, and they might put it in their wish list. So October, you're gonna get a lot of spending and not necessarily a lot of sales. That isn't necessarily bad because, like I said, people tend to put things in their wish list that they're really interested in or write it down or something like that. So you are still getting, advertisement, your product is getting out there, but October always looks a little dreary and everyone's always like, oh, my Octobers are so bad. Well, it's because you end up having, like I said, a lot of looky lures, meaning that they click on your ad and don't actually purchase anything because they're planning on purchasing later. So just be aware that is an October thing in the US. Okay, so the other thing you need to know about Q4 and ads is that costs for ads do tend to rise. I still think you should be conservative and you want to test and experiment. Especially if you are new to ads and don't know what you're doing, do not put like 50 cents. Do not use the suggested amount that Amazon says. Don't click that. You're just going to waste your money. Well, you might get some sales, but I don't think your return is going to be very good. So don't necessarily do that. All right, but be conservative. Start out, with a small 10, 15 cent bid. In Q4, usually I do my bids around 10 cents, but in Q4, they creep up to 15 to 20 cents just because, and a few things I will have at 25, but mostly I honestly stay pretty darn cheap. And I'll show you the reason for that. And that's because I tend to do manual ads and I'm very focused on my target market. I'm very specific with my audience. I really focus on specific keywords that solve a specific problem for people. And when you do things like that, you can, if you're looking just at a smaller market, so I have one particular market, it's probably about 1 million buyers, I would say, who are out there shopping through Amazon. There's more than that, but let's say about 1 million buyers shopping through Amazon. And so that's a pretty small market. It's not tiny, mind you, but it's fairly small. But I know that they have certain keywords that they're looking for, and I use those keywords. I'm really focused down. I also use trending keywords. I had one ad that wasn't working, and I knew there was buyers out there, but the ad just wasn't working. And what I figured out was that I wasn't using a trending topic. So my audience had a trending, like, key phrase. That's the best way to put it. And I wasn't using that in my ad. I put that trending key phrase in my ads, and I started getting sales right away. It was just a night and day difference. So sometimes, especially with manual ads, it takes some time to figure out what your audience might be typing in, to find those trending topics, to find the keywords that your audience is looking for that would really get your interest in your product. Okay. So now let's talk about the 4 different parts that I pay attention to and what I pay attention to and why. So we're talking impressions, clicks, orders, and ACoS. Those are the 4 things I kind of pay attention to. Now I'm going to tell you how and what I do to pay attention to them, because I have a streamlined method that works for me. It helps me at a glance understand what's going on, and so I can make decisions and that I don't have to spend hours reviewing my. All right, so let's talk about impressions. The first thing about impressions is you want to make sure that your impressions are increasing daily. Occasionally, you won't get any impressions, and that could be for a few reasons. Sometimes it takes a few days for the ad to start off, especially if you're bidding lower. And in Q4, you can do 2 things. If you're just not getting any impressions at all, you could try raising your bid. And if that doesn't work, honestly, sometimes I'll just kill the ad. Now, I do wait a few days. 24 hours is not enough. You've really got to wait like at least 3 days, really a week. If I get no impressions at all at 3 days, I probably will definitely up the bid, but I might kill it. I probably would let it go for a bit though, at least a week. Because sometimes just it takes a while for the algorithm to start talking. I'm not really sure why. But like I said, if you don't get any impressions, you can eventually kill that ad and then just restart a new one, maybe with a little bit higher bid. Okay, so let's say you're getting daily impressions and the impressions number is going up. And then you notice that there's a stall. Okay, so the impressions are they're going along good, and then they just die. There's a lot of reasons this might happen. The Amazon algorithm, if you aren't getting what they feel you should get as far as purchases or like that, it could kill it. Or someone else could have come into the market, bid a lot more, and so they're paying attention to that person. You don't know exactly. So what you can do in that case is if they start to slow down, then you're going to want to probably up your bid or change out your keywords. Usually if I'm going to change out my keywords, I tend to start a new ad. I'll kill that ad and then start a new one with the words I knew were working from the previous manual ad, and then change up some words that maybe weren't and key phrases that weren't working. All right, so now that I've done that, the next thing I want to look at is clicks to impressions. So, most people are really always worried about, oh, I have so many impressions and there's this many clicks and they want some sort of ratio. I honestly don't really pay attention to that because I really only pay attention to the idea, am I getting any clicks for my impressions? So if I have any impressions, it doesn't really matter. And then any clicks, I kind of look and see, okay, now, if I'm not getting any clicks, or let me start over. If I'm getting impressions and I'm getting clicks, I don't really focus on, the how many, like 1,000 impressions to 1 click. I honestly don't really care. I really only care if I'm not getting any clicks, or I'm getting so few, like 100,000 impressions in 1 click. That's pretty poor. But generally what that means, if you're getting a lot of impressions and no clicks, or very, very, very few, that probably means that your cover, something's wrong. It is either not enticing the buyer, you aren't focusing your keywords on the appropriate audience, or, look at your fonts, look at the colors. Something's wrong with your cover. It's either like wrong with the cover itself, or it's wrong with your audience who you're trying to focus at doesn't think that's the right thing that they're looking for. Okay, so that could definitely be the problem. But as long as I'm getting some clicks, I don't stress too much about that. I know people have ratios, but I don't worry about that too much. The next thing I tend to worry about is clicks to orders, right? So if I'm getting impressions and clicks, but no orders, then I start to, think, okay, what's wrong? Now, remember, when you're getting orders that are clicks, but no orders, they have clicked on your ad and they've gone to your product page. So what this usually means, if you're not getting any orders once people get to your product page is not compelling. It is not convincing somebody they should buy it. You can fix that with adding A+ content. You can fix that by fixing your description. Your description might be terrible. My big thing on descriptions is I like to have them bulletized. I like to basically the person on the product. I want to say, this product will solve this problem, right? Are you looking to, looking for a way to entertain your kids on a long car ride, right? So that might describe a coloring book, a puzzle book, something like that, right? So I kind of ask a problem, and then I say, this book has blah, 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 and it just describes the answer to that problem. So this book is the answer to that problem. And then I use bulletized just to kind of tell what it is. Don't use a whole paragraph. Nobody reads whole paragraphs anymore. Well, there are a few people who do read paragraphs, but not too many people. Bullets make it easy for the customer to read. And then at the very end, the tagline, like, grab this book now, right? So you'd want to do that. That is kind of compelling. And like I said, you can add A+ content marketing so that they can kind of see inside. That's what you want to do. Okay, so now the next thing we want to do is I'm going to go, and this is about math. I know you're all so excited about math, but I am going to share my screen with you. We're going to talk about break-even ACoS. Okay, so I know everybody wants to do ads and everyone's all about, putting it out there and hopefully it'll work. Okay, I am a big believer, and if you do not understand your numbers, you shouldn't be advertising. Okay, all you're going to do, it's like a slot machine. You're just going to put your money in and waste it if you do not understand the ACoS. Okay, so ACoS is basically sales or spend over sales. So how much you've spent in ads over the number of sales. Oh, I do want to tell you two things. Okay, now orders. Do remember, orders is like, when they clicked on it, they bought it. They could have bought multiple copies. So that's why your spend or your sales might not necessarily match if you multiply out your profit for your orders, because the order, if they bought 3 books, it's going to show 1 order, but obviously your sales is going to show the sales for those 3 books, right? So if it's $7 for the book, it's $21 for 1 order. Okay, so that doesn't necessarily always align, but your spend over your sales is important. How much you've spent over how much you've done. And that's not profit. Remember, sales is the $7 that I sold it for. My profit might only be $2. So it's really important to know all your numbers. So let's talk about break-even ACoS. So basically, it's the royalty on the book divided by the price. So we're going to give you an example here. Your ad spend is $2. You have 1 sale. The price is $6.99. Your royalty is about $2. Okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to say that, remember, ACoS itself was spend over sales. So we're going to do the royalty over the book divided by the price. So that's $2 I spent in ads over $6.99. And so you get 2.286 or 28.6%. So that is my break-even ACoS. So once I understand that number, I need to know that my ACoS number that I'm looking at on my sales report is lower than that. If it is lower than that, I am probably making money. Well, I am making money, right? I guess you could be spending money in other ways, but it's really important to understand your break-even ACoS. I know everyone's not into math. I know everyone's not excited about math. I love math, but you have to understand this simple thing or you're kind of wasting you don't understand your numbers and understand that you are spending money to hopefully make money, then there's really no point in doing advertising. So it is important to do this basic math. But let me give you some more numbers. So let's say your price example is $7.99. Your royalty is $2.64. My break-even e-cost is $2.64 over $7.99 or 33%. Okay, so if my e-cost on my report is 20%, then I am definitely making a profit. Okay, those are really important numbers to understand. So you really need to understand a cost, even though, and it's not just understand what a cost is, which on the report, remember, is just going to be the spend over the sales. You need to understand the number you want to achieve to make sure that your campaigns are profitable. I run profitable campaigns. I know there are people who just want to spend and get to #1 on the book list, and they have a whole different strategy. But I focus on really small niches. And so I try to be profitable with almost every single ad I run. I'm pretty successful at this. And like I said, it's because I really focus on manual ads. I focus down. I, really try and know my audience. Okay. I really try and sell to a specific person. And the more specific I can be, the more specific I can sell to that person, the person I know who is going to buy my product, the more likely my ads are going to be profitable. Okay, so that's my strategy. You guys don't have to use that strategy. There is a ton of strategies out there. You can just run automatic ads, and those do work. I run them myself, but I'm kind of picky in what I do and how I run those. All right, so I will remove the math. Okay, no more math. Whew. Okay, so that's kind of what you want to understand for ads. I hope these tips were really helpful. Like I said, the biggest thing I think you need to do for Amazon advertising is understanding your audience. If you understand and you know what that person is going to type into, or at least guess, right? You're always going to be guessing what they're going to type into that search bar. If you can understand that, understand their mentality, understand the book, understand what description, what problems they have. Does your book solve that problem? That your description is really there for that. If you can do all those things and really focus on that specific person, that specific audience, and everything on alignment, then you're going to hopefully do well. And the big thing I think for beginners for Amazon advertising is to start small. Like I said, don't bid 75 cents or whatever the suggested bid is. Please don't do that. You're just going to waste money probably and be very upset with that experiment. Start small, keep new things, keep trying to understand, okay, why isn't my product purchased? Why is this not working? Now, sometimes, like I said, you don't know why, and it could honestly be luck, bad or good, right? Good luck that you hit the right person at the right time and got a bunch of sales. It can be luck, and it can be bad luck on the same sign. You just kind of hit everything wrong and it just didn't work. But you want to the very best of your knowledge, think through the process. What isn't in alignment based upon the impressions, the clicks, how is my A doing? What isn't in alignment that I can improve or change? There are only so many things you can improve or change. Your cover, your description, you can add A+ content marketing, and you could change your interior as well, right? If your look inside isn't, or even when you use A+ content marketing, if the audience is expecting one thing and they get something else, they're not going to be very happy. So you want to make sure everything is focused on making your customer happy. And that's what they want. They want happy customers who purchase things. And if you can do that, if you can really think about your customer and getting something to them that they like, then you'll get rewarded in the end. You'll get good reviews. Amazon will be happy to show your book to people because the customer is happy to purchase it. And so it all works out. Now, like I said, luck always plays some part in it. So you need to keep trying. You need to be consistent. You need to keep working on your ads and experimenting. It's okay if you have to stop an ad and then redo it and start over. Sometimes that is the best option because the ad has history, right? And if that history is kind of poor, you're kind of setting yourself up that you're never going to train it to be better. So sometimes just taking what you've learned from that ad that performed poorly and then restarting a new one with different keywords, with keywords that were working, with the right price point for your ad bids, all that sort of thing, that can really help. And it takes time, it takes experimentation. Okay, so that's it for today. I did want to get to my free thing, so I promised some of you. Right now until October 31st, my boot camp, which is on, it's boot camp for beginners starting low content books. It's on my website, publishwithashley.podia.com, in the show notes. You can use this coupon code FREEKDP until 31 October and get that course for free. It really is a beginner type course. So don't be expecting, advanced things on that. It's really just that how to upload and just kind of that sort of stuff. So here it is for free, and I hope that will be helpful for you all. All right. Thanks so much for being here, and I will see you live next week at Wednesday, noon Eastern time. Bye.